Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. How are you doing, my dear student Prep 1? Today we are going to explain the second term in science. We have 3 units. The first unit speaks about chemical reaction, and the second unit speaks about force and motion. The third unit speaks about Earth and universe. Let's start first with Unit 1, Chemical Reaction. We have 3 lessons. Lesson number 1, Chemical Combination. Lesson 2, Chemical Compounds. Lesson 3, Chemical Equation and Reactions. Lesson 1, Chemical Combination. The atom and the ion. The number of the well-known elements till now is 118. The total number of elements until this moment is 118. And those elements can be classified according to their properties and electronic structure into metals, non-metals, and noble gases. Let's begin first with metals. Metals are solids except for mercury, which is a liquid. They have a metallic luster and they are very shiny like gold and copper. Number 3, they are good conductors of heat and electricity. So we can use some of them in making electric wires like copper and cooking boots like aluminum. Number 4, the outermost energy level contain 1 or 2 or 3 electrons. And the behavior of these elements during the chemical reaction, they lose electrons and changes into positive ions. These positive ions have a number of positive charge equal to the number of electron lost. Again, write about the behavior of the metals during the chemical reactions. Metals loses electrons during the chemical reactions and they change it into positive ion having a number of charges equal to the number of given electrons. Example, sodium 1123, the electronic configuration of sodium 281. Sodium loses this electron in the chemical reaction and it changes into positive ion. This positive ion have only one positive charge. Why we have only one positive charge? Okay, because it loses just one electron. We can compare here between the number of electrons and the protons between the neutral atom and the positive ion. Another example, magnesium 1224, the electronic configuration of it 2A2, it can lose 2 electrons during the chemical reaction and it changes into positive ion having 2 positive charge. Okay, we have 2 positive charge because it loses just 2 electrons during the chemical reactions. And from these examples, we can obtain the definition of a positive ion. It is an atom that has lost an electron or more during the chemical reaction. Is an atom that has lost an electron or more during the chemical reaction. The second type of elements are nonmetals. Some of nonmetals are solids, others are gases, and we have only one liquid, which is a bromine. Number 2, they have no luster. If we have a piece of carbon, it have no luster. Number 3, most of them are back conductors of heat and electricity. 4, the outermost energy level contain 5 or 6 or 7 electrons, and the behavior of nonmetals during the chemical reaction, they gain electrons to form a negative ions. Okay, in case of metals they can lose electron, but in case of non-metals they gain electrons and it changes into negative ion, having a negative charge is equal to the number of the electrons gained. تمام. Example, Cl1735, the electronic configuration 287. So it is a non-metal. It can gain electron during the chemical reaction and it changes into a negative ion having just negative charge, just one negative charge, because the number of electrons is 1. The number of gained electrons is 1. Okay, another example, oxygen 81626, it have 6 electrons in the outermost energy level, so it can gain 2 electrons to complete the outermost energy level, and it changes into negative ion. This negative ion have 2 negative charges. Why we have 2 negative charges? Because the number of gains electrons is 2 electrons. We can now state the definition of negative ion is an atom that has gained an electron or more during the chemical reaction. نركز في two definition, positive ion and negative ion is an atom that has gained an electron or more during the chemical reaction. تمام. Exercise, write the electronic configuration of aluminum 1327 and nitrogen 714, then conclude the following: the type of the elements and the electronic configuration. تمام. ممكن نحل ده homework and you can contact with me in our WhatsApp group. The second point in lesson 1, ionic bonds. We have two types of bonds: ionic bonds and covalent bonds. Ionic bonds, it is an electric attraction between positive and negative ion. Electric attraction between positive and negative ion. For example, the formation of sodium chloride, table salt compound, which is ionic compound. Sodium loses electron during the chemical reaction and it changes into positive ion. And Cl17 gains electrons during the chemical reaction and it changes into negative ion. There is an electric attraction between positive and negative ion, so the ionic compound is formed. Okay, نركز في الخطوات بتاعة ionic bonds. First, formation of positive and negative ion, and then electric attraction between them. Example, sodium chloride, table salt. So we can state the definition of ionic bonds. It is a bond resulting from electric attraction between positive and negative ion. تمام؟ يبقى bond resulting from electric attraction between positive and negative ion. The second type is covalent bonds. And covalent bonds It occurs between two nonmetal elements. Each one of them shares with number of electrons. Okay, we have two nonmetal elements. Each one of them shares with a definite number of electrons. If the two atoms shares with one electrons, they become or they form single covalent bonds. And if they share with two electrons, they form double covalent bonds. And if the two atoms shares with three electrons, they can form triple covalent bonds. Like in hydrogen molecule, single covalent bonds, and oxygen molecule, double covalent bonds, and in nitrogen molecule, triple covalent bonds. So we can state the definition and the type of covalent bonds as covalent bonds. It is a bond originated between nonmetal through sharing each atom with atoms and a number of electrons filling its outer electron shell. Okay? It originated between nonmetal elements. Each one of them shares with a definite number of electrons. Type single covalence, double covalence, and triple covalence bonds. The third type of elements are noble gases. And noble gases elements, elements are characterized by completely filled with electrons of the outermost energy level. So they cannot share in the chemical reaction, like helium, neon, and argon. Please study hard. Ask if you need help. Thank you.